everyone, Amanda here from Moses and Me Card Company. Today we are showcasing the cards we've created with the Simon Says stamp June 2025 card kit called Beautiful and Curious. But first, let's take a look at what we get in the kit. Starting with their cardstock, we get a sheet of, this is a Simon Says stamp cardstock in steel. We also get an ivory from Simon, and then a sheet of Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock. We also get a metallic envelope. This is a pretty color. This is metallic khaki. I like that. That's a nice neutral color. We get their iced vellum, which is a pretty kind of iridescent vellum. It's got a little bit of shine and sheen on it. And we also get a pack of, these are actually 6 assorted double-sided sheets from Tim Holtz Ideology Wallflower. Oh, so that kind of goes nicely with the neutral tones. This has got a lot of neutral tones, which is going to be interesting. I like the neutrals in it. But as you know, I always struggle with colors and how to put colors together, but I think this will be kind of a fun challenge. And of course I got these upside down. So there you have it. Those are the 6 pieces that I got. I think everybody gets something different. Of course we get the stamp set called Beautiful, or actually Blessed. Oh no, it is Beautiful and Curious. So that comes in the stamp set. We get some distress crayons, and the colors that I got, I think these are different in every kit. So I've got Worn Lipstick, Peeled Paint, Stormy Sky, and Fossilized Amber. So those are nice colors. They go nicely with the pattern papers that we have in the kit. We get some deco foil in copper. So these are foil transfer sheets in the color copper. We also get an embossing folder. This is called the Dotted Diamond. You can kind of see that pattern a little bit better on the back side of it. And then we get a Black Suit Archival Mini Ink Pad. And a sheet of the Lucky Sentiment strips, which seem odd. These must have been leftovers from the, March, and no worries, we'll use them. We'll use them as secondary sentiments. And then we get the a little piece of twine here. This is May Arts Ivory Twine, so we'll try to incorporate that. And lastly, we get a water brush. This is from it's just a 1 water brush color pen, so that we can use with our Tim Holtz crayons there. And there you have it. So I look forward to showing you guys the cards we create. Stay tuned. All right, here are the 10 cards we were able to create with this month's card kit. Starting fairly easy, I took some of the pattern paper that we had in the kit, and I also brought in some cardstock of my own. I believe this is Portobello from Spellbinders, and I used the embossing folder that we had in the kit and stamped one of the images from the kit, and then of course I brought in one of my dies from my stash. This is a Thanks die, and it is, let's see if I can find it, from Simon Says stamp. It's this Thanks frame, so it cuts out the little thanks on the inside as well. And that, of course, I stacked up a couple of cardstock pieces high, so it's got a little bit of dimension. This panel with the stamped image is popped up on some fun foam, so it's got some dimension. And there you have card number 1. I kind of, not gonna lie, I kind of struggled with this kit just because of, I guess mainly the sentiments. I don't know. I guess as we get into it, we can kind of go through that. So here is card number 2. Again, I brought in some of that portobello, I used my Simon Says Stamp frames die. It's just called frames, so that makes it nice and easy to cut out this little trim piece around the edge. And of course that's mounted on some of the pattern paper that we got from the kit. And then again, that little centerpiece is mounted on some fun foam, so it's got some dimension. And the hello here is mounted several times so that it's got a little bit of dimension and has got some substance to it. And that hello is from a Spellbinders kit. This is one of their club kits. I don't know if it tells me what year or date. Yep, September 2021. And so it's got a little hello here that I used. But I'm sure we all have tons of little hello dies in our stashes that we can use for that kind of greeting. But I just kind of thought that would probably be more something that I would send to somebody. These make really nice masculine cards, I thought. Just the color palette and just the nature of the stamp sets themselves, I thought were very interesting. For card number 3, I brought in a With Sympathy die. This is from Simon. I need to get some more With Sympathy dies. These, I only have 2, and I always struggle. This is With Sympathy. This is obviously from CZ Designs and with Simon Says Stamp. And then of course the Sorry for Your Loss is a sub-sentiment that I brought in from my stash, and that is from these little tiny word encouragement sentiments. No, I'm sorry, not the tiny word encouragement. That was used on a different card. This is from the Tiny Words, I guess from Stamp Timber, the Stamp Timber release. I guess this was maybe the original Tiny Words that came out. One of the little stamps down there is a Sorry for Your Loss stamp, which I just kind of thought went nicely with the sentiment. So for this one, I used, of course, the flower stamp from the stamp set that was in the kit, and the little swallow there, which I thought was pretty. I brought in more of that portobello and some dark brown cardstock that I had in my kit, or in my stash rather. And of course I did bring in some frames. These are my Spellbinders frames. These are the postage edge rectangles. That is of course mounted on some fun foam so that it's got some dimension. And then the With Sympathy and the Sorry for Your Loss is also stacked up several high so that they've all got dimension. And I just kind of thought that made a very nice simple sympathy card from this kit, which was nice. And then for card number 4, brought in a congrats die. So proud of you. Now that so proud of you is from the words of encouragement, the tiny words of encouragement. Right there. That's the sub-sentiment I used. And then the congrats is from a My Favorite Things die that I have in my stash. That is called Stylish Congrats. I thought this might be a nice graduation card, or since you kind of believe in your daydreams kind of leads me in that direction. So that's kind of what I was thinking for that. I of course brought in some specialty cardstock. I think this is like some Tim Holtz like copper cardstock that we got in a kit a while ago. The congrats is stacked up several sentiments high. And the main panel here with the, I guess that's a tree or a plant, has some fun foam behind it. And so that's got some dimension. And then of course the So Proud of You has got some foam tape as well. So that has some dimension also. So there you have card number 4. That horizontal card's going to throw off my counting. For card number 5, I'll bring in, again, I used a lot of the sentiments, or rather the pattern paper from the kit in the background here. This, of course, is more of that portobello and I used my postage dies from Spellbinders to create the frame for that. This is the postage edge rectangles. The Thinks is from another kit that we had with Simon Says Stamp. I'll have to look up what the Thinks is called because it's one of those ones that it doesn't have a package with it, so I'll have to look that up. But I stamped the Be Your Beautiful Self, which was from the stamp set on the background. This little acetate sheet was sitting in my craft room for ages. We got these acetate sheets from one of our card kits a long time ago, and I had used most of them, but I had 2 left over, so I ended up using those in this card kit, and I was really glad to get rid of those. Just to, you know, it's nice to actually use something completely. It feels good. I don't know what the name of these are, but these were in a card kit probably several months, maybe a year ago. And they're just called Transparently Layers from Tim Holtz Ideology. And I thought they kind of went nicely with the theme of this kit. You know, this kind of very rustic, very, I don't know quite how you would call it. But there's card number 5. For card number 6, kind of same thing. That was another one of those transparent layers that I had still in my stash. I stamped the You Make My Heart Smile in some of the, what's that specialty ink called? Hang on just a second. This stays on opaque since it's a shiny or a slick surface. This is the kind of ink that you want to use on that. So that got stamped on that surface. I again used my postage edge frames and some of the specialty cardstock that I have in my stash from Tim Holtz in the copper. The Thinks is die cut from several layers, so it's got a little bit of dimension, as you can see. But the frame and the acetate transparent layer is flush to the card. So it's kind of a nice, easy card that you could mail very easily if you needed to. So there is card number 5. All right, so for card number 6, 7, and 8, I don't know about you guys, but I really struggled with the Blessed are the Curious sentiment. That's not something that I would naturally send to somebody, so it was like I wanted to use it since it was one of the main sentiments, but I wasn't quite sure how I wanted to use it. So I thought, you know, what better way than to incorporate cats who are very curious. And so here I have my rendition of coloring a tortie. I've got 2 cats at the time, right now rather, and one of them is a tortie. And her name is Junebug, so it's my attempt to color her. I'm sure she would be mortified if she saw this, but the little cat from that image comes from this Simon Says Stamp Picket Fence stamp set. This is, I think, one of the Stamp Timber like exclusives that they had. I think it was for last year or this, yeah, last year. So I was kind of glad to get that out and actually use it. Of course, the background paper is from the kit, and then I took and embossed, I used the embossing folder from the kit on that piece of brown cardstock in the back, and I mounted this main panel here on the front on some fun foam, so it's got a little bit of dimension, and there you have card number 6. 7, I'm sorry, I always lose count when I get to the second row. Let's be honest, I lose count when I'm on the first row, but for card number 8, I liked the little cat idea, and I've got lots of little cat sentiments in my stash or stamp sets, so I thought that I would bring in another one. This, of course, is on some of that Portobello cardstock, and then I used the pattern paper that we got in the kit with some love from Lizzie Peel-Offs. There was love from Lizzie Peel-Offs on this card as well, and on this other one on card number 1. This I stamped, so I stamped these 3 little cats. These are from the Love Cats from Stampin' Up. And I just stamped them all on a piece of that ivory cardstock that we got in the kit. And then I cut it using my MFT stitched rectangle scallop edge frames, which cuts out this little edge. You'll speak of one of the cats, and here they come. So this has been cut out with the frame. So the frame itself I popped up on some bun foam, so it's got some dimension. And then I just kind of paper pieced that middle panel back into it so the images are continuous. But I thought that was kind of cute. I like how that turned out. And I thought that kind of went nicely with the Blessed Are the Curious stamp. So what about you guys? Did you struggle with that sentiment as well, or is it just me? I don't know who I would even send that to. I'm pretty sure it's not one of the Beatitudes. Anyway, for card number 9, I had another little cat stamp set that I wanted to use from my stash before I was done with that theme. And this, of course, is from Tim Holtz. This is Snarky Cat Halloween, and I just like the little image of the cat. I like both of these little images. But I kind of picked the one that was upside down because I thought that went best with the curiosity theme. The frame that you see here, so this of course is mounted on some of the pattern paper. I took some of that Portobello cardstock and I ran it through with the embossing folder, so it's got a little bit of texture. And then I used the Love from Lizzie peel-offs to give it some interest in the background. And then I stamped the cat on some of the muted pattern paper. It looks like the newspaper pattern paper. And that piece has been mounted on some fun foam, so it's got a little bit of dimension. And then I just stamped the Blessed Are the Curious directly on the panel. And I used the frame from that Thinks die. Let's see if I can find it in my little stash over here. I don't know. Hold, please. Let's see here. It's over here somewhere. I just had it. Here we go. So this Thinks frame actually cuts out. It cuts out an internal piece and a so you get the Thanks, but you also get like a little frame. Oh, that might be pretty. It's like a champagne gold. But in any case, I had that from my earlier card that I made, card number 1, in the chocolate brown. So I took that remaining frame and just used it to kind of highlight the sentiment here, and I called that a card. And there you have card number 9. So these are kind of cards that are out of my comfort zone a little bit. I enjoyed making them because I think they're very neutral cards. I think they've got a nice masculine feel if you needed cards for men in your life. But I also think they're kind of nice for like sympathy cards, or just kind of muted patterns. And just kind of nice and different. Of course, we are in June, so I have started working on Father's Day cards. This is my first Father's Day card of the month. And this, of course, uses the pattern paper that we got from the kit. And I used some Love from Lizzie peel-offs to kind of marry the two pattern papers together. That is like a green peel-off that's got a gold trim, which is kind of neat. You can't really see that very well because it's so thin, but this was part of that sentiment sheet that we got in the kit, and I did heat foil that with I believe it was copper sheets that we got. So you see that's got a little bit of shine. I brought in, of course, my favorite arches. These are my arches from Spellbinders, and they're just the essential arches to make that window. That's mounted on some white cardstock, so it's got like a little bit of a frame around it. The that was of course run through using the embossing folder, and I also mounted that on some fun foam so it's got some dimension. And then of course the dad I brought in from my stash. This is from Tailored Expressions. It's called Caps Lock Dad. And of course I mounted that on several layers of cardstock and just brought in this like really pretty green that kind of goes with the greens in the background. And then I had a couple of bird silhouette dies. I believe these are from Memory Box. I don't know what I've done with them. Hang on and I'll see if I can find them. Alright, I found it. This is Resting Birds. And it is from Memory Box. It creates these 5 little birds, and usually I'll just die cut them once and I'll just put them in this little bowl I have over here because I don't use all of them, so I have them always like lying around. So that's where those little birds came from. And then I just included a little doodlebug heart just to kind of add to the love theme of the Father's Day card. But there you have card number 10. And just so you guys know, I did look up this thanks die that I used in this card and this card, and it is the Simon Says Stamp Bold Thanks Wafer die. So it's kind of a nice little thank you die. I like that it's got a pretty classic font. I think that looks nice. So there you have it. There are the 10 cards that we created using this month's kit. I don't know about you guys. I didn't see a lot of as much inspiration for this kit online, so I feel like people must have also struggled with it just a little bit as well. But anyway, I hope if you got the kit and are struggling, this has given you a few ideas of what to do with the kit for yourself, or just, you know, different ways other people use the kit. But as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching and supporting my channel. I hope that you got inspired today, and I look forward to our next card kit. Thank you so much. I will talk with you guys later.